So let us start today's class here. And today we are going to start another new module, and we will start with the topic exception handling. So as we discussed in the first 2 or 3 classes about the different aspects of object-oriented programming. So one of the aspects was the exception handling. And exception is a kind of a situation which, if occurred to a particular program, then it stops the execution of the program then and there. Suppose you can think about a C program. In a C program, if in an expression you divide some value with a 0, and after the execution is done, so when it reaches that particular line, when that expression is executed, and the and the C environment finds that it is a infinite value, it will be infinity. So the division by 0 is not allowed. So in that case, what will happen? It will stop your program then and there, and it will report the error to you. But if something else is to be present afterwards, maybe some unevitable portion of your code be present after the division operation, so those portions you cannot reach because you have an error, you have a runtime error, and that runtime error stops your program then and there. Okay. Now, in this case, there may be a situation, the unevitable portion of the code which is remain unexecuted after the error occurred. So for that, you may face some kind of problem with the operating system or other kind of devices that are attached to your program. So exception handling means such kind of runtime errors you can handle in a such a way so that you can take proper measure against the exception that has occurred. Exception will occur always, but if exception occurs, then you can take some measure to get rid of the unwanted problems that may occur for the uncontrolled behavior of the exception. Okay. So in object-oriented programming, exception handling is possible. We can handle the exceptional situation in a user-defined manner. So Java exception is an unwanted or unexpected event which occurs during the execution of a program that is at runtime and disrupts the normal flow of the program's instructions. So this thing I was already telling you. When an exception occurs, JRE creates an object of a specific exception class. Now, what is that specific exception class? We'll come to that afterwards, but there are classes. The object of those classes are being created for specific kind of problems. If you have division by 0, so you will create object of some class. If you have some null pointer exception, you'll be having some different class for that. Okay, for different kind of error, that those are to be matched with proper exception classes, and that thing is done by the JRE. JRE detects the exceptional situation, and accordingly it selects the proper exception class. It creates the object of that class and then sends that exception. The object is now called the exception, and that is sent to the method inside which that exceptional situation occurred. Okay. Now the method may address to it or simply passes to the caller method. Suppose the exception occurred in main. So if the exception is occurring inside the main function, then it is having a choice. All the methods which are subjected to have that exception, everyone is having a choice of handling it. Exception handling measures could be taken, or simply it could be passed. If, say, from main you are calling some other function or other method, and inside that other method the exception occurred, that method will receive the exception object from the JRE. GRE will detect the exceptional situation and it will fetch the corresponding object to the method where the exception has occurred. Now that other method is having a choice to handle it or to simply pass it over to the caller function. So main is the caller now, so main now will receive it. Okay. So the parser should be passed, but main doesn't have any caller. So it should be passed to the GRE, back to the GRE, and now it is the task of the GRE to handle it. Always, if an error or exception occurs at the runtime, GRE has proper mechanism to handle it by default. If the user program cannot handle it, the GRE will handle it. But when GRE handles it, it has to be taken, the program has to be stopped then and there. The GRE will stop the program then and there, as it happens normally for C program and others, which does not have the concept of the exception handling. So if it is a exceptional situation that could not be handled by the user program, so GRE simply will take it over and it will stop the program then and there. The execution cannot be continued after it, and it will report that this exception has occurred in this and this source code. The Java file name will be given, then inside which method, in which line the exception has occurred, everything will be mentioned. So this entire statement will be printed on your screen, but your program will be stopped then and there. So if the GRE handles the thing, it will be handling in this way. Okay. If the exception is not handled inside the program, it will be leading to the termination of the corresponding process, because the GRE is going to handle it and GRE will stop the program. In Java, we can handle the exceptions so that if they occur, proper measure could be taken. So this is what I was telling. If the exception occurs and if you cannot permit your program to stop then and there, then you should handle it. And you will having ample chances to run all the inevitable portions of your code. The keyword used in exception handling are throw, throws, catch, try, and finally. So these are the 5 keywords associated in different way to the exception handling. Okay. So try, catch, throw, throws, and finally. These are the 5 keywords associated to the exception handling in Java. So if we have to categorize the different kind of errors that may occur in your program, so there will be 2 kinds. One is the exception, another is error. So from the name of the chapter was exception handling. That means exception is that one in which we have interest. We don't have any interest in error. Why so? Just go by the definition of the exception and error, you get to know why we don't have pay attention to this error part. Exception indicates condition that a reasonable application might try to handle. So it is handleable. Something has happened to your program and that thing is handleable, like array index out of bounds. So this is not a major error. This is not somehow related with the operating system. So this is completely related with the user program in which you are working. Okay. So array index out of bounds, then some kind of arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, then there may be illegal argument exception, then number format exception. So these are kind of a problem which could be solved or which could be handled from your user program. So these are coming under the category of exception. And what are errors? An error indicates serious problem that a reasonable application should not try to handle. It will be handled by the operating system and by the GRE. So system will handle it. we do not handle this kind of problem. So under this category, it will come to the stack overflows. So here the stack means it is the system stack, which is actually a part of the operating system. Operating system operates on it. So it is not in the purview of the user program that can handle this system stack, and that can take the care of that system stack so that the stack overflow will not occur. So it is not under the permissible area of a user program. So these are serious problems, and these are to be taken care by the operating system or the JRE. The user program doesn't have any chance to handle this kind of a problem. Okay? So if stack overflow occurs, it needs to be handled by the system. Now, if we go for exception category, so earlier the problems could be categorized into two categories. One is the exception, another is the error. Exception is handleable, error is not handleable from your program. After that, the exception is now categorized. Exception is categorized into basically two categories. Here error is also being shown, but exception is categorized into two categories, and that actually comes under the exception handling portion. Okay. So checked exception, unchecked exception, and error. So you come to the checked exception first. So checked exceptions are checked at the compilation time. Some of the exceptions that are being checked at the time of compilation. SQL related exceptions, then servlet related exceptions, IO exceptions. Basically, IO exceptions you can handle. If the exception occurs, then what to do, that you can take the measure. But IO exception, you cannot alter something to change the IO exception. IO exception is system oriented thing. So these are to be actually being found at the time of compilation time. When at the compilation time, the compiler tries to detect the checked exception. Okay. Generally, the IO exceptions, we try to take measure for it, but it is actually not handleable from the user program. So checked exceptions are those which are checked at the compilation time. So what are unchecked exceptions? Those are not checked at the compilation time. So when they are going to occur, they will occur at the runtime. When the user program is executed, at the time of compilation, you have checked the code, there is no syntactical error, there is no semantic error, everything is in place. But when you are trying to run it, due to some reason, some value or some data has been generated, and that is basically creating the error for you. So that is the unchecked exception, which you cannot detect at the time of compilation. So these unchecked exceptions, the measure against the unchecked exception should be taken at the time of execution. And by just seeing the code, by just observing the nature of the code, you have to identify if there is a chance of the unchecked exception or not. If there is a chance, if some value has been divided by some other value, so there is a chance of the division by zero error. If you are using an array, so there is a chance of array index out of bounds. So this kind of chances you have to identify, and you will take proper measure. If exception occurs, then what will be done? Okay. So for unchecked exception, you need to detect if there is a chance of occurring any unchecked exception in your code or not. If there is a chance, you have to put it within the proper measure of exception handling. So that is called the unchecked exception. Now, sometimes regarding the exception handling, the question comes, what is the difference between checked and unchecked exception? Checked and unchecked exception. That is one category. Second category is what is the difference between handled and unhandled exception. And third category will be, what is the difference between exception and error? So all these are having different answers. Do not think that handled and unhandled are same to the checked and unchecked. Checked and unchecked, I was already discussing about. So for example, the checked exception will be IO exception, then SQL exception. So you can see these are related with the environment. If you are aware of SQL in DBMS, so SQL exception is also comes under the checked exception category. Then servlet exception. So these are the checked exception. Under the unchecked exception, it will be arithmetic exception. Then array index out of bounds. Then null pointers. After that, there might be illegal arguments. So these are the different category of exceptions which are coming under the unchecked exception. And error is irrecoverable. That means it is on the operating system how to handle it. The user program doesn't have any way to handle this kind of exceptions or this kind of problems. Under this, it will come to Stack Overflow. Okay, so these are the different categories of exceptions, exceptional situations that your user program may encounter. This is the class hierarchy of exception, related to exception. So we already know that object class is the superclass of any class present in the Java environment. Object is the superclass of any class. Under the object, not immediately under the object maybe, okay, these are not always immediate subclasses, but somehow they are the subclasses. Subclass of the object class is a throwable class, a very important class, that is the throwable class. Basically, the exception handling hierarchy starts from here, from the throwable. So what is the superclass of exception handling classes? So it should be throwable. The answer is throwable. Under the throwable, we have two classes, two subclasses. One is the exception class, another is the error class. So at this portion, you are distinguishing between the errors and exceptions. The subclasses of exception class will be going for all the handled, checked and unchecked exceptions will come under it. So you can see the checked exceptions, IO or compilation time exception. So these are IO exception, class not found exception, SQL exception. These are the category of the checked exception. At unchecked exception, these are the runtime or null pointer exception. So arithmetic exception, array index out of bounds exception, null pointer exception. Now you may see here, these examples I have given in a proper Hungarian notation. That means these are the classes. These are all classes which are handling such kind of exception. Okay. So if it is a division by 0, it will be under the category arithmetic exception. The class name is arithmetic exception. If you have to detect the array index out of bounds, you have to go for this array index out of bounds exception. This is the whole name of the exception class. In this way, illegal argument exception, number format exception. So lots of such classes are there. So these are coming under the unchecked exception category. So these are all subclasses of the exception class. Now under the error class, what we have Stack Overflow error. We have virtual machine error. So these all are having, the last word is the error. So these are not handleable. You never try to handle this kind of exceptions. These are not exceptions actually. These are errors. So we will only pay attention to this domain up to this. Okay. So under throwable, we have the exception class. Under exception class, we have many subclasses and the tree of classes, which can handle different kind of exceptions. And we will take the help of all these classes. We will create object of these classes to maintain the exception handling in our program. So I told you, normally what happens when an exceptional situation occurs in a program, that exception, if it is a predefined exception, there may be two different kind of exception again, predefined and undefined. Predefined means the situation is known to the JRE. The null pointer exception or the illegal argument exception or the division by zero or the array index out of bounds, these are known situations. Okay, so if a known situation is occurring, then the exception could be identified by the JVM, and what the JVM will do, it will create the object of the corresponding class and it will fetch it to the method inside which the exceptional situation has occurred. Okay, so this detection and creation of the object, these things are to be done by the JVM if the situation is known. But if the situation is unknown, for any particular C program, in any particular Java program, say you are taking the input of roll number and in your program you have taken the measure like beyond roll number 90, the number should not be valid, or if it is a negative number, it should not be a valid roll number, or if it is 0, it is not a valid roll number. So this thing, for a roll number, you take an input inside the integer. Now integer can be negative, integer can be 0, integer can be greater than 90. So for an integer, it is not an error to have any such value there. So JVM cannot identify if an integer is having a negative value. So for your program, that integer should not be taken. So this situation you have to create. You have to create a user-defined exception to handle the situation like this. Okay. So if that kind of a situation is occurring, you will handle it using some user-defined exception. So in that case, the JVM cannot detect the problem. The JVM obviously cannot create particular object of exception class for you. So in that case, everything should be done in a user-defined way. Okay. So we'll come to that afterwards. For now, we will just treat all the objects, all the exceptional situations like it is known exceptions, and the JVM is going to create object for us. JVM will detect the exception and JVM will create object for us. So such things we are going to discuss here. So the default exception handling through JVM. If the measure is not present, if a proper measure is not present in a function, then what happens? So this is basically a flow which is showing how the exception is thrown. So first thing is exception has occurred inside a method. So exception has occurred, that means JVM has detected that. JVM detects that exception has occurred inside a method. After that, the method creates an object. JVM actually creates the object. The object known as exception object, and the exception object is reaching the method where the exception has occurred. Now regarding this, the exception object contains what it is containing: the name and description of the exception. The name of the exception and the description of the exception. These two things are there inside the exception object. And also the current state of the program where the exception occurred. That means the source code name, the method name, if it is the line number, if the method is called from any other method, so the entire trail. So these all things are to be specified. These will be specified inside the exception object created by the JVM, and this we call stack trace. Okay, when we will try to print the exceptional situation, so we will try to print the stack trace. Okay, so this object will be created by the JVM and it will be going to the method where the exception has occurred. After that, the exception object is handed over the JRE. That means if the proper measure is not present inside the method, so what to do? Obviously, the exception has to be given back to the JRE to handle it. So the method cannot handle it, so it will be moving to the JRE. If the method is called from some other method and there is a method calling trail, so it will be going back through the trail, and when it will finally reach the main and still there is no measure to take care of the exception, so finally it will be reaching the JRE or JVM to handle it. Okay, so this entire trail we call it the throwing one exception. There might be the list of the methods that has been called to get the method where the exception occurred. I was telling that one method is calling another, another is calling another. So in that way, a trail has been created. So in the final method or any previous method present in this trail, if the exception occurs, so gradually you have to get back to the caller, to the next caller, to the next caller in that way, like we do for the recursion. So here also, as for the as to get back to the final caller, step by step, we take the help of the stack in case of recursion. Here also, we are going to take the help of the stack to get the trail marked properly. So this ordered list of the method, it is called the call stack. There will be a call stack in which one method after another. So it is actually a function call stack. It is normally there. Always it is there. A function call stack that should be there. And through this stack, we can trace which method, if it is an unhandled exception and that has been occurred to some method, then it is unhandled. So obviously, to the previous level, we have to search for the handling operation. If it is still not there, we have to go to the previous to that. So in that way, finally we'll reach the main. Still, if it cannot be handled, so finally it will go to the JVM. Okay? So JRE searches the call stack to find the method containing the block of code called exception handler inside the caller method. Sorry, inside the method where the exception occurs, JRE will first try to find out if the exception handler is present or not. If the exception handler is not present in the present method, JRE searches all methods following the call stack in the reverse order of their call. And then matching a matching handler is found. Every time you go to the previous level, you ask for a matching handler has been found or not. So there may be different handlers. May not be all are matching with the exception that has occurred here. So if there is a handler, if it is a matching or not, or if there is at all a handler present or not. So this thing has to be found. So if a matching handler is found, in that case, JRE presents the occurred exception to it. So it will be handing over to the handler to handle it. If it is not present, the JRE hand over the exception object to the default exception handler, which is a part of the JRE. So if nobody is there, JRE has to handle it. Default exception handlers print the exception information and terminate the program abnormally. Okay? So this is done by the default exception handling mechanism. Now I'm just going to show you what exactly they print. as you can see here, inside this driver class, we have the main function, and in this main method, we have this int a declared, that is to be the value of the a you can find like equal to 50 divided by, now this AR is basically the command line argument, and the first value in the command line argument that we have converted into integer, and that integer is going to be on the part of the divisor. So 50 divided by what you send as the first command line argument, this thing will be the value of a, and that value we are trying to print here. Now there are chances, two different chances of error that can occur here. The first thing is you forget to give any value for the command line argument. In that case, this AR0 will be fetching the JVM will fetch that, and this is the array index out of bounds, because there is no element present on the array. So how can you try to get the value from the 0th location? Okay, so that is one error. The second error is possible if the first value present in the command line argument is a 0. So it will be a division by 0 error. Okay, otherwise the program will be executing fine. Now we have chances of error here, we have chances of exception, but we are not taking any measure. There is another chance again. This integer.parseInt, when the parseInt function, this function is taking a value, taking a string as input. Now that string must be a replica of an integer that should be convertible to an integer. Now instead of such a value, suppose to give 1, 2, that means 12 you are giving, so that will convert it to 12. But if you write 12AB, so 12AB is not a valid string that could be converted into integer. So in that case, that will be giving you illegal argument exception. Okay. Or you may say that number format exception. A number format exception is a subclass of the illegal argument exception. So both can handle this kind of exception. So different types of exception may occur in this single line present over here. Now we are not taking any measure here and trying to compile it. So has been compiled. That means it is not falling in the category. One of the exception that is we are having over here that we may have there. So those are all unchecked exceptions. Okay, those all are prone to occur at the runtime due to some misplaced value or input. Okay, so they are not checked exceptions, they are not errors, they are unchecked exceptions specifically. Now if you run it, just I'm giving a proper value. So a equal to 10 is giving us the a's value is 10. 50 divided by 5, it is 10. Now if I give that 0, you can see we do not have any measure taken over there. So far the exception is created and handled by the default Java exception handler that is present as a part of the JRE. What it is giving here? Exception in thread main. Inside the main, exception has occurred. The type of the exception is Java Lang. Java Lang is the default package under which all the exception classes are present. So java.lang.arithmetic exception. So this is the class whose object will be created for this kind of exception. And the message is division by 0. So all the information, the name it is showing, the type of the exception it is showing, it is also showing where the exception has occurred. At driver class main method, the name of the source code is test.java, the line number 3, 1, 2, 3. You can see at the third line, the error has occurred. So it is showing you exactly in which file, in which line, under which class, under which method the exception has occurred. Okay. Now simply, if I do this, you can see the exception has occurred by something else. What is that? Exception in thread main, but the class detected is Java lang array index out of bounds exception. Index 0 out of bounds for length 0. The length of the AR array is 0. So 0 is not a valid index in that case. So that is also been occurred at driver.main, so class and method, and then the source code and line number. So everything has been specified. Okay. Now let us see the okay. So I moved the entire operation into another method that will be called from the main method. So you can see the division by 0 will occur inside the ABC. But if it is array index out of bounds, that will directly occur inside main. Okay. So let me recompile it. Let us use a valid value. The valid value is giving a proper output. Let us use here no input. So you can see the exception array index out of bounds and the message also been shown, and it is present where? Inside the main function. Inside the driver class, inside the main function, the thing has occurred. But if I give here 0, that means, see the division by 0 error, where it has occurred. Primarily it has occurred in ABC method. Okay, the line number 6 ABC method is creating this problem. It is unhandled in ABC. So it will be going back to the caller. So next exception has occurred to the caller at the line where the ABC was called. So that line is line number 3. You just go to the program. Initially the exception has occurred here and it is not handled inside this ABC. So it is moving to the caller where the function was called. This line is again another exception. So that is the line number 3 in the main. Still it is not handled. So finally it will be handled by the Debian. Okay. Do you have any queries regarding this? So no answer is, I will say that you don't have any queries. Okay, so handling exception in user program, we already have known to this, like we are using 5 different keywords to handle the exception in a user program. The first 2, they come as a duo. They are the try and catch. These are like if and else. The else always follows if, try is always followed by a catch. A try block is always followed by a catch block. Try means where we have to incorporate the portion of the code where some error may occur. And if the error occurs, then the error could be handled inside the catch. Okay. If an error occurs, then it will be going to the catch to handle it. So the program statement that programmer thinks there can be an error or exception. So that will be contained in the try block. If an exception occurs within the try block, it is thrown. User code, this is detected and thrown by the JVM. The object will be created by the JVM and it is thrown. User code can catch this exception using catch block and handle it in some rational manner. System generated exceptions are automatically thrown by the Java runtime system. Catch block catching exception class object can catch any kind of exception or error. So we'll come to that afterwards, why it is like that. You can have multiple catch under a single block, single try block, and you can have a nested try or catch. Okay. So today I will just show you one example of normal try catch, and next day we will elaborate. So we have a code here. So you can see this code is containing a main function like the previous, and where there is a chance of error, we are putting it inside the try block. Okay? And after completion of this statement, error in an error-free manner, then only the next statement could be reached. So the next statement will only come if there is no exception occurring in this line. Fine? If the exception occurs in this line, then and there the JVM will create the proper object and it will be thrown. And when it is thrown, it will be going to the catch block. And if the catch is having a matching exception with that particular one, then it will be caught here, and you can write proper measurements inside the catch block. So if it is an exceptional situation, your program will not stop. If you can have a matching catch block here. If the catch block exception is not matching with the exception occurred here, in that case what will happen? It will be taken normally by the JVM and the program execution stops then and there. But if it is a caught exception, so that is the difference between caught and uncaught exception. Exception is thrown. If a matching catch is present, so it will be caught. If it is caught, then the rest of the portion of the code will be executed. If it is not matching with the catch block, that means it is uncaught exception. So in that case, the program will be terminated as it was done for the program that do not have any exception handler. Okay, so this is called the handled and unhandled exception, or caught and uncaught exception. Okay, so here we go. Again, three chances are there, three different types of error may occur here, but we have only one catch which is matching with the case of this exception. So if array index out of bounds occurs, in that case, it will not be handled. It will be terminating the problem. If the number format error is occurring, in that case also, it will be terminating the program. Okay. But if division by 0 occurs, so it will be handled over here. You can print two different things from there. The first one is printing the entire stack trace. That is what exception, which type of exception, and what is the message behind it. Entire thing could be printed like this. This E is basically the exception object that is, reference that will be referring to the object created by the JVM. And E.get message means only the message part will be printed for it. Okay? And if it is a caught exception, then what is present afterwards, that will be printed. I'm going to execute this. So if we go by 0, so that means This is actually a caught exception. This is actually a caught exception. So the first line printed by system.out.println E. Okay. So the entire stack trace is going to print which type of error and what is the message. Everything will be printed. The second line is printed only to show the message part. And these are the output of these two lines because the division by 0 has occurred. Okay. And finally, the last line, as it is a caught exception, so that's why after try catch, this line also will be printed. You can see that. But if it is an uncaught exception, then what is happening? It is an uncaught exception, so it is handed over to the JVM for handling it. And normally, as it was done for the previous case, here also it will be done in the same way. Now, the same thing will happen if you write something which is unconvertible to an integer. So, number format exception, that will occur. Okay. The parsing cannot convert this number into integer, so the number format exception will occur here. So, whatever it is, so we get to the solution that what is the difference between caught and uncaught exception. And another thing we were discussing, exception class, which is a super class of all exception classes present in the system. Exception is a super class. So as we know, the super class reference can refer to all the subclass objects. So exception E, if you write exception E, that will be able to handle every kind of exception that may occur in your program. So in the earlier case, only arithmetic exception could be handled. But in this case, hopefully all the exception could be handled inside the catch part. So you can see the number format exception has been handled. As it is being handled, the last line also came. So array index out of bounds, that is also handled. As it is handled, so we have got the last line again. Division by 0, that is also handled. And if you run it normally with a valid value, so this is actually printing the value of A. And after try catch, that is the last line without any exception if the program is running. So obviously the last line also will come. So all the exceptions are handled just by using this exception E here. Okay. So this is a kind of exception class which can refer to any of the exception subclasses present in the system. Okay. So far in the presentation, we are telling that catch block catching exception class object can catch any type of error. Okay. Now, what is multiple catch? What is nested try block? We'll come to that afterwards. Today I am stopping here because I think you have a class afterwards. Answer to the roll call. Roll number 1.
Yes, ma'am.
2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
Yes, ma'am. 7.
9.
Yes, ma'am.
10.
Yes, ma'am.
11. 12.
Yes, ma'am.
13. 17.
Present, ma'am.
19.
Present, ma'am.
20.
Present, ma'am.
21, 22, 23, 24,
Yes, ma'am.
25, 26, 28, 29,
29 present, ma'am.
30,
30 present, ma'am.
31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 39, 41,
Yes, ma'am. 41.
22, okay. 42,
Present, ma'am.
25 got. 43,
Present, ma'am.
44,
Yes, ma'am.
46,
Present, ma'am.
49,
Yes, ma'am.
50, 51,